History's strange, it's alien, and it won't give us what we would like to have.
There is a certain irony that history enjoys, like a quiet joke told at the expense of certainty. Charles Carroll of Carrollton, the wealthiest man in the American colonies, lived much of his early life as a man without rights. Not limited rights, no rights. He could not vote, he could not hold office, he could not practice law. His crime was simple and unchangeable. He was a Roman Catholic in a Protestant-controlled Maryland. And yet, when the moment came, this same man would risk everything, fortune, status, even his life, to sign his name to a rebellion. To understand Carroll, you have to understand Maryland. It began as a refuge, a Catholic experiment in a Protestant empire. The Calvert family tried to build something rare in the 17th century, a place where Christians of different stripes could live side by side. The Toleration Acts of 1639 and 1649 were bold for their time, almost suspiciously generous. But history has a habit of reversing itself. By 1689, Protestant rebellion swept that experiment aside. Maryland became a royal colony, and Catholics, once the architects, became outsiders in their own house. By the time Carroll was born in 1737, the system was not just biased, it was engineered. Catholics were stripped of civil rights, barred from public worship, and even prevented from educating their own children. There were laws, real laws, that allowed authorities to take Catholic children and raise them Protestant. Think about that for a moment. This was not mere prejudice. This was structure. This was policy. This was a society designed to erase a people quietly, legally, and completely. So the Carroll family adapted, quietly, carefully, strategically. Charles was sent to a hidden Jesuit school, then shipped off to Europe for 17 years. France, London, the best education money could buy, because money was the one thing the law had not yet figured out how to confiscate. When he returned to Maryland in 1765, he came back not just educated, but sharpened. A man who had seen other systems and understood, perhaps better than most, what liberty was supposed to look like. And then he did something unexpected. He began to write. Under the name First Citizen, Carroll entered into public debate, taking on loyalist arguments piece by piece. He argued that taxation without representation was not just inconvenient, it was illegitimate, not because it hurt, but because it violated principle. He won those debates, not loudly, not theatrically, but decisively, and in doing so, he stepped into the light as a leading voice of resistance. Words, however, have a way of leading to action. In 1774, when the British ship Peggy Stewart arrived in Annapolis carrying taxed tea, the situation was volatile. Carroll advised the owner to burn the ship, not protest, not negotiate, burn it. And they did. From philosopher to revolutionary, the transition was complete. By 1776, Carroll was no longer just a Maryland figure. Congress sent him to Canada alongside Benjamin Franklin, hoping his Catholic faith and French fluency might persuade Quebec to join the rebellion. The mission failed, but it revealed something important. Carroll was now seen as a national asset. Not bad for a man who legally could not even vote a decade earlier. Then came the moment that history remembers. Carroll helped push Maryland to support independence. He was elected to Congress on July 4th, 1776, and on August 2nd, he signed the Declaration. He did not just sign it, he signed it as Charles Carroll of Carrollton, making sure there would be no confusion about who had done it. Because if the revolution failed, he knew exactly what that meant: confiscation, trial, execution. The richest man in America had just wagered everything. After independence, Carroll did something many revolutionaries struggled with. He helped build. He shaped Maryland's Constitution, embedding religious toleration into law. He served in the state Senate, then as one of the first U.S. senators. He supported the Bill of Rights, helping translate revolutionary ideals into durable structure. This was not rebellion anymore. This was architecture. But like many of the founders, Carroll carried contradictions. He spoke against slavery, called it a moral evil, even proposed gradual abolition, and yet he owned hundreds of enslaved people throughout his life. History does not tidy that up for us. It leaves it there, uncomfortable, unresolved, a reminder that principles are often clearer than the people who proclaim them. In his later years, Carroll bridged eras. He invested in infrastructure, helped launch the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, and lived long enough to see the nation he helped create begin to transform into something industrial, something modern. By 1826, he was the last surviving signer of the Declaration of Independence, one man stretching from colonial grievance to national memory. He died in 1832 at the age of 95, a long life, but more than that, a consequential one. Because Carroll's legacy is not just that he signed a document. It is that he proved something fundamental, that liberty cannot be partial, that civil freedom and religious freedom are not separate ideas, but inseparable ones. In the end, Charles Carroll's life reads like a blueprint, a man denied rights who helped define them, a member of a persecuted minority who helped build a system meant to prevent that persecution from ever becoming law again. And like all blueprints, it is not perfect, but it is enduring, and we are still, whether we admit it or not, building on it.
Check out more stories from history at davedoeshistory.org.